Hey, welcome back to All In with Rick Jordan. I am Rick Jordan, and I'm really excited today because I have the mayor of Bellevue sitting right in front of me. Mr. Mayor, please introduce yourself.
My name is Conrad Lee. Nice to be here, Rick. It's a pleasure. Actually, I was a former mayor. We elect mayors every 2 years.
Oh, fun.
By
Okay.
our fellow council members.
Yeah.
So I was very fortunate to have the honor to serve. And currently, I'm on the city council. I've been on the city council for 26 years now.
Oh, fantastic.
So it's a career for most people in whatever they do. But in what I feel about serving the community, really, it's a volunteer job. It's something that I'm very passionate about, and I believe if we want to do anything, we need to be passionate about it. I hope that this reflects my passion. And I look at politics sometimes as entrepreneurs. Because I know one of the topic that you are very interested, most people are, is in a city like Bellevue, it's entrepreneurs, because it's the spirit of creativity and innovation.
It really is.
We are in the world that we are facing, people, young people especially, they are looking for things that's new, exciting. We have to have ways to solve our problems, and the problems and challenges are not small, and to really get answers and solutions, we need to be creative.
Absolutely. We were talking just a little bit before the show too, because I said that I'm interested in politics, not necessarily running, but I'm interested in the psychology of it. And you were talking, and I really appreciated your comments that you love the theme of this show, how of All In general, and how politics can sometimes not be that way.
Yes.
And we started talking about Hamilton. I know you said you didn't see it, but there was a line that stuck out to me in that musical. It was from Aaron Burr, and when I saw it, I think it was best portrayed by Wayne Brady, who's a very famous actor, comedian, and everything. That was in the Chicago Company, because I saw it in Chicago and in New York, on Broadway in New York, and I felt that the Chicago Company was better, which was interesting to me that it wasn't actually New York, but Chicago had Wayne Brady too, so maybe that was it. But there was a line he said, he sang it was, "Talk less, smile more, never let them know what you're against or you're for."
Yes.
So it was very middle of the road, wishy-washy, don't offend anybody. Don't actually take a stance for what you believe in just so you can gain constituents. And that's sad to me when it comes to politics. So can you enlighten to maybe some of the psychology behind that?
Yes, of course. Yeah, that is something unfortunate. I always believe that politicians now becoming more timid because we are no longer, I would use the word courageous enough to kind of expose ourselves. Because when we do anything, speak anything in the public, like you and I doing now, if I say anything that is controversial, people take it in different ways and sometimes misunderstood. And with the news, the social media now we have, things spread so quickly.
Oh, they do.
And also a lot of times it's one-liner. That's something we remember, right? So you don't have the really opportunity to explain.
Sure.
And things now also, issues are no longer black and white. A lot of it is gray because we have a community that is very divisive. We're becoming more polarized.
Sure.
So people tend to use identity politics. So that kind of cast you in one category or the other. And unfortunately, some of these issues need to be explained. That's what you're talking about, need to be communicated.
Right on.
And it's just not listening or keeping quiet. It's really having dialogue like we are doing now.
You got it.
And but we don't have that opportunity. Even at council meetings, we are limited. You have 3 minutes, 5 minutes.
Oh, goodness,
You talk too long. We have one kick on the can. I mean, how can you really articulate and talk about issues in depth if you don't allow people the time opportunity? So I think there's a lot of frustration that's reflected. And I also thought used to be, we have bully pulpit, right? And bully pulpit are places where people use to explain their position, to articulate and to create a dialogue among the community. And the people who are respected, tend to use that as a means to generate initiate the discussion. We used to have in religious circles, pastors, ministers, priests, they have bully pulpit. And elected officials, I hope most of us still are represented, really elected by the public, because they kind of respect us and our position to articulate whatever needs to be, right? That is important to the community and to the people. And so, but today we don't have any bully pulpit anymore.
No, not even in churches.
Not anymore. Not even churches, because everybody wants to be saved. Everybody wants to be liked. Nobody wants to be criticized.
You got it.
Because it takes a lot of effort to, refute or correct or articulate or explain a situation that's very complex. So as a result, that discourages politicians from taking the risk and to talk on topics that may be controversial. So we try to avoid that. And to me, that's unfortunate, because the only time we actually talk to the communicate to the public is during election time. And to me, that is mostly propaganda, right?
Most of it is, you got it.
It's kind of one-sided.
Yeah.
And so I feel that the show that you have and the slogan that you use, all in, as I mentioned earlier, politics for me, it's almost like entrepreneur, because you have to be passionate about it.
You do.
And once you are, you need to be willing to commit to it, and not to give up in delivering the message or doing the things that you want to do and communicate with the public. And so I think that is really a commitment that we have to make. And unlike, again, startups and entrepreneurs. So I appreciate what you're doing.
That's great. Thank you so much. You use the word passionate. And in order to be passionate about something, it really requires you to have a solid opinion about that, rather than trying to worry about offending people. I mean, this show, or me, you just kind of get what you get. And if I ever chose to run for politics, that actually might be a problem.
Yes. Well, that's the
or it might be good. I don't know.
Being
right?
a problem. To me, I think that's a good thing, right? Yeah. Because people need to hear from you. People need to know what your position. The difference being that you have to be willing, no different than a successful entrepreneur, willing to be flexible, to change your positions, to find the truth. And so what is the truth?
That's key, yes.
You have to have people talking about it. You have to discover what is the thing that people really are concerned with. And then you have to come up with solutions. I always believe solutions, most of it come from the people who have the problem. We are just here to help them to frame the picture, to expedite and to help to facilitate. And I think that's the best thing we can do.
That's perfect. Yeah, because even though you have a solid opinion, you still have to have an open mind to that you could possibly be wrong about that. And there might be a different perspective, or maybe that you're not wrong, but maybe there are two rights in a scenario.
Yes. The point is that, we have different opinions and different ways of solving a problem. But we need to recognize what is our common problem, and then use everybody's skill and knowledge, perspective, and ways to tackle the situation. And I don't think any one person owns any solution. It has to be a common solution. I think that's why.
Oh, that's great.
The American value, American forefathers, that's why we define what is American creed and what we believe in. I think these are the things that unify people. The question is that we need to be open-minded and to admit that we are wrong when we are wrong, and to do the things that we don't know, how to get people together and put our mind together. And it's challenging because the world's going so fast. And lots of folks, are challenging to get them together to have a dialogue. But I believe that technology is actually helping us to have more dialogue.
The question fully agree with
whether
that,
we are willing to have the patience, have the open-mindedness to collaborate. That's why I think we use a lot of good words today. We use innovation, collaboration, partnership. And I think these are all important elements that we can come up with good solutions. But the question is, how do we actually make it happen? How do we do it? And that takes, I believe, commitment, patience, open-mindedness, and communicate with one another. But it's also more challenging because the community has becoming so diverse. Bellevue is an example. When I first ran 8 years ago for city council, there's 1% minority population or less. And right now we have more than 50% of the Bellevue population of 150,000 being minority.
Oh, that's great.
And a lot of them are immigrants from other countries. So it's amazing when we have such a diversity. And the challenge is, it's a good thing to have diversity.
Sure.
America is a country of immigrants.
It really is.
That's where we are strong, because we bring the best we have from where we come from. And we have the desire to excel, to do more than what we can. We are not satisfied with status quo. We're always looking for better. And I think that's what the characteristic is, what makes this country great. And the cities, Bellevue as an example, is we're attracting a lot of these diverse population here through technology, quality of life, and most importantly, the people here in Bellevue, in the last 50 years I've lived here, they're very welcoming to new things, new ideas. And so they are accepting, they're looking at new experiences. You mentioned earlier, some people look at experience, sometimes bad experience, or seem to be.
Oh, yes.
And you said that, no, you always can get one thing out of it. And I always believe that's the appropriate way to look at experience. I do not think there's ever any bad experience. There are experiences you don't want to have repeated.
Sure.
but they are all good experiences. They tell you not to do something or do more of it. How do you do it better?
You got it.
I think that's
difficult experiences.
But
are not
it's challenging. Because we need to learn how to communicate with other people from other cultures, because they have different cultures, different language, different way of doing things. Even the 1,000 years of culture that they have in the background, that they need to kind of reorient and learn about, what makes us tick. And I think that's the challenge we're working on. So having this diversity in our community, it's a wonderful thing, it's a great thing, but at the same time, it's a challenge, and we have to work constantly to understand other people's position, perspective, their culture, and then hopefully we can establish a cohesive, common value of how we want to be Americans. And so I really appreciate the resurgence of places like Hamilton or that, because it tells us what our country came from, what is
it really does.
the basic American value. And I came here.
I want to get into that story
60 years ago as an immigrant from Hong Kong. Now it's part of China. And it's everybody's dream to come to the United States to seek American dream. So that's why it's very concrete, very specific.
That American dream is kind of convoluted today too.
Exactly.
It's not what it was.
But it's still, I think, still well and alive. But we just have to make sure it can be a reality.
And
we need to work toward making it a reality for everyone.
That's a better way to put it, because it's almost convoluted. It's not the right word, but maybe more difficult to attain is what it seems like it is now, and many get discouraged in that. And they seem like, even owning a house, rather than renting, because owning a house was synonymous with the American dream years ago. You don't have to rent anymore. Now I'm going to have something of my own. This is my home. And now, a lot of it especially with the crash 10, 11 years ago, the economic and real estate crash, that was crazy, because now most are scared to even go into that realm again and purchase a home. I own my home. I always have ever since my wife and I got married. We never rented. Just bought our first home, and then we've had a couple of homes since then. But the American dream now, I think that's so key. What you're saying is helping people realize that it's still there. It's still attainable. And there's one thing I picked up, because I listen to subtleties a lot. And I do want to hear your story, because you said you emigrated from Hong Kong 56 years ago. When you spoke about America, you said our country. because it's something that you have taken on of your own now. And it really, just that phrase, I don't know if everyone listening caught that, but just that one phrase, rather than this country, and saying our country, that's possessive. So you're saying that this is my country.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. The proudest day in my life is the day when I became naturalized to be American
That's fantastic.
citizen. Yeah, it's a country I can identify as mine. A flag I can salute.
Yeah.
I mean, this is amazing.
It is.
And it's I think the challenge today is younger people now are so busy. They are so engaged in so many opportunities.
Yeah.
Because technology, the environment, is giving so many options, choices, and sometimes they can get very confusing.
Yeah.
And young people are confused. So I think we need to really establish what I was saying about what is the basic common American value and goal, and so that we don't lose them. And one of which is my country.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
Exactly.
this is important.
Yeah.
And I think we still have that basic value.
Yeah.
Americans are probably the most patriotic people in the world.
You got it.
We stand up against any common adversary, with no question. I was fortunate a couple of years ago. I was invited to the U.S. Army War College in Pennsylvania.
Oh, fun.
It's a one-year program for the training of the staff officers ready to assume the high command.
Yeah.
And some of civilians are invited to have 1 week class with them. And it's just an amazing experience to see how these folks are performing their duty. And also how they have come along, no longer just one idea, follow and rule, but it's a thoughtful, very deliberate thinking process and using good judgment when they have authority and the responsible duty, to protect our country. And one of which I remember most vividly is to visit the Gettysburg battlefield.
Yeah.
It's amazing how the soldiers, brothers and cousins, they fought against each other for a very important reason, which is the unification of a country, the separation of a country.
Yeah.
And they stood together, and they're willing to lay down their life. And the casualty rate was just astonishing.
Yeah.
It's over 50%.
That's crazy.
But people from general all the way down to a private, and none of them are professional soldiers. They're all volunteers.
Oh yeah, exactly.
They say, we want to fight for a cause, for a value. And they went and they laid down their life. They had, the generals with a sword in their hand.
Oh, I know.
The private with a bayonet, with their hand, and they
not trained. Yeah.
They go at each other and lay down their lives. It's amazing.
It still is
today,
amazing.
I think we need to be reminded of those heroic things and the basic reason why we need to do the things that we have to do, including lay down our lives for a value, a system that we support.
Absolutely.
That's just amazing. And I think we need to schools actually don't teach civics anymore. So I'm working, I believe people are the most important asset we have.
Yes.
And beginning with the young people.
Yep.
And young people is our asset. And I'm working with a lot of young folks to teach them the things that I'm talking about, the American creed, American value, and how can we stand up for those values. And despite the differences we have, which we do, it's a fact of life, right?
Absolutely.
We're all different. Every one of us are different. Our
That's
kids
what
are
makes it
different.
America.
We have a son. Do you have a family?
Oh,
You have kids?
Yeah. 3 kids.
3 kids. And they're all
Twins,
different.
actually. Yeah,
Here
2
we
are
go,
twins, and
right?
they're very different.
Even twins are
Yes.
different. But we all share something common.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to focus on. We need to be united on. So instead of polarization, you talk about politics.
Yeah.
It was so polarized.
Has to be
It's not funny.
unification. Yeah.
We got to be working
got it.
together along the same value.
Yeah. And it starts with the dialogue that you're talking about too, because everyone has opinions, but then most are very reluctant to actually have a conversation or open their eyes and their minds to the other person's perspective.
Yeah.
Even if it's family members, like you're talking back in the Civil War days, whether it was brother fighting brother, and back then, at that point, there was some dialogue that was attempted, but then war became the dialogue.
Yes.
At that point in time, which was tragic, but they still came together to that point, on opposite sides of the line to fight for what they believed in.
Yes.
And then the dialogue was established afterwards, thank God.
Yes.
After there was a lot of bloodshed, like you're saying, over 50% casualties. But that's, you're right. I really feel that's something that our country has lost at this point, is that dialogue.
Yes.
I mean, what dialogue do we see nowadays? Because we're getting into the midst of a really heavy presidential campaign coming up, and we're still even before the primaries right now for the most part, and in the very beginning stages, and you see Republican hopefuls, you see Democratic hopefuls, and they've even had some debates. And I was laughing because I was on a plane and I saw it was CNBC. It was 7 o'clock at night, something like that, live streaming DirecTV, and on CNBC they had the Democratic debate. This was a couple of weeks ago, a month ago, something like that, and I was laughing because I couldn't hear the sound. It was on someone else's TV. And I was just looking over and I was laughing because I could see really only their facial expressions on this. And you could tell just by their facial expressions that they were not open at all in their mind or in their heart to even hearing the other perspective of their opponent. They were just completely sold off at standing and solidifying their position in front of everybody else, that they wouldn't have a dialogue. Yes. And the dialogue is two ways.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But it was just more so a broadcast is all they were doing, is just saying, this is what I believe and nobody else can be possibly right. And you could just tell that from their facial expressions. Yes. And it was sad to me that they couldn't have a real dialogue. That's what I feel that Americans really want.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, I could sit here and talk to you all day long, really, because I do want to get into more of your story, if you don't mind, too, because you said you came over here 56 years ago. And how did that happen? What transpired to get you over here?
Actually, I was very fortunate to be able to come to the United States for college.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, and I was very grateful. And my mother, she lost her husband when I was about 7 years old. So she raised my sister, myself, single-handedly. So she made a lot of sacrifices. And one of the things that she really, helped me is to put education first and send me to the United States, despite of all the challenges and difficulties.
Sure.
So I was very fortunate. And I realized when I came here, you come to the United States, people think, well, like the first Chinese immigrant came to San Francisco because they figure it's during the gold rush time.
Yeah,
so they saw in China, people think that the street lined with gold. That's why the name of the country in Chinese is Gold Mountain.
Oh, really?
San Francisco, Gold Mountain. Right.
The perception is that there's just gold everywhere.
Yes. You just pick. It's all for you. And of course, when I came, the reality wasn't, and you got to work for it.
Yeah.
But the fact that there is gold in some sense, but you have to work for it.
Yeah.
And you have to, there's potential, the opportunity is there, and so I was fortunate. And then I also realized after I came, it's not just financial security anymore. It's not financial freedom anymore. It's not just jobs and making money, but you actually have freedom. Freedom of all senses of religious freedom. That's why the Puritans came, and this ultimately it's a political freedom.
Yes,
and that gives us our democracy, which we enjoy. Yeah, which is really unique in the history of mankind. And we all know that democracy is fragile.
Sure,
you have to work at it.
You got it. You got
keep it going. And I think we are working hard. We're going through all this, and but with voter turnout to be 30% the last, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, right.
But the good thing is we have a system, funded by the founding forefathers.
Exactly,
that
it's a democratic republic.
Allows us, to bounce back, to swing back. The pendulum goes back and forth.
It does.
It all depends on people. Public. That we, the root, the government of the people, for the people, by the people. As long as we live within those principles, we can affect, how we move forward in the future. So I think given the system we have, it's a wonderful system. And again, it doesn't relieve us of the burden and responsibility of working hard in dialogue.
You have to work at it. Yeah,
exactly.
Marriage has been really the same for many, many years, and it's if a democracy or republic is an institution, so is that. And to have a successful marriage, you have to work at it.
Yes, absolutely. We all realize
it's still people. That. Yes, exactly. Yes. And that's really like how all the states are, in my opinion too. Because I mean, there's states that, or there's small groups that will rise up and talk about succession, and I don't want to. I don't want to get into that too much, but it's just, that's almost like quitting and saying, I want a divorce, and that's not how it works, really. If you want to have a successful nation, it requires people, and it requires the dialogue, and it requires everyone to see things from maybe a little bit of a different light, and understand that the other person doesn't have a position just for the sake of arguing with you.
Yes.
It takes work to come onto median terms to where everything can actually work out for both sides.
Yes.
For all parts. There's many sides. There's more than two sides. I love that. So you came over for college.
Yes.
And what was your major?
Electrical engineering.
Oh, fun.
It was fun. And
not politics, not political science.
Yeah. That's a basic means of survival, basically.
You got it.
Yeah. And so after I graduated from Michigan, I came to work for Boeing Company.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. We did great work, and we built the 747. That's the best airplane that's ever been built. It's best
no
ever
doubt.
flown. It's still, of course, again, the progress has come, and it's no longer efficient airplane, economically efficient plane to fly. So, but it's
reliable.
It's reliable.
Yeah.
But we live in the future. The future will be even better.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that excites, I'll give the opportunity for everybody is, like you're saying, as long as we maintain the democratic principle of forward-looking and innovation, and with the technology. That's why I'm excited about Bellevue. In a way, what I mentioned about my life, it kind of parallels the growth of this region. Specifically the city of Bellevue.
Oh, that's fun.
I've lived here for 52 years.
Yeah.
And so during this period, so many things have changed.
I bet.
And it's because people are working toward how to have a place where our children can have a place better than ourselves, and they can grow. And I think we are creating the technology because of the people willing to come here.
Yeah.
Because it's a great place. And whatever we do, usually we go through a lot of sometimes agonies and when you grow, it's a lot of uncertainties.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
And so there's risk involved. That's another thing I was going to mention. People are less and less willing, not people, but a lot of politicians to take risk. Yeah. So when you don't take risks, you don't get the creativity and the benefits that comes with it.
That's just like entrepreneurs.
Just like entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think we need to instill those ideas into young people. So I'm kind of working with the Bellevue School District, hopefully, to create some school clubs to discuss civic engagement, how to get involved with community, public philanthropic projects, so they actually can get hands-on experience and learn about the ins and outs, and hopefully the basic reason why it's important to be engaged in the community.
Sure.
How do you make things work and happen? And to do that, it takes communication, takes working together, and it takes confidence to initiate something that's risky.
Yes.
And I think that's the quality I think we need to encourage younger people to
Absolutely.
have. Yeah. So
it's very clear you love your city. I mean, you love your country, you love your city.
It's a great city.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing how people have been so what I call aware of the importance of keeping it,
Yeah.
a great place for people to come and to live. And I'm very excited because the companies, especially in technology, and the people that employ are willing to come to work here and live here, to raise family here.
Yeah.
And I think Microsoft doesn't have to be here, but Bill Gates happened to be raised in Seattle, and
Sure.
and he happens to want to come back here to live. So Microsoft is here. So is Amazon, Jeff
yeah.
Bezos. So is other companies, Expedia, and we have companies like Packard, which is against a local company, and they were sticking around for what? Because they love the culture, the people,
Yeah, you got it.
and the value that we hold. And so when we have this, environment that is created, that it's here, technology is come, and I think the future of solving some of the problems that we're looking at of growth is through technology.
Yeah,
we
right on.
can improve things incrementally by treating here and there, but I think the big things come from technology, the quantum leap, things that would change people's life dramatically, such as we just celebrated the 50th anniversary of Apollo mission. That's when John Kennedy says, let's go to the moon.
Yeah, right on. Yep.
For whatever reason it is. It may not be so good when you look at it today, where you want to beat the Russians.
Yeah, that was really the reason.
That's the reason. But inherently, because we made John F. Kennedy, President Kennedy, made such a bold vision, announcement, based on, I think, a value that we uphold, because we want to maintain, our value of government. We want to be competitive.
Yeah, and a risky
the
notion
benefits
at that.
we have realized from going to the moon has resulted in the prosperity and the things that we are enjoying today, which we would not have, like internet. Right? Like the technology of being in engineering, electrical engineering. I know when I first started, we were working with vacuum tubes. Now then went to into solid state devices, integrated circuit,
absolutely,
and the circuit boards. I remember in the days when a cell phone we're working on takes the space of a full building.
Oh, yeah.
Have the same capacity.
Sure. Well, you talk about the Apollo mission. The cell phones we carry now have more, like 1 million times more computing power than the computer on that first space shuttle that went up on that capsule. Yeah.
So the future, is with us here today. Future in artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
It is.
That's going to change everybody's lives. And, most of it will be good, like experiences we're talking about. Some of it will be challenging, will be difficult for some people, but we have to work through those. We have to come up with solutions. How do we turn problems into benefits? And I think that's where we are. I think Bellevue today, with Amazon coming to the east side, with Microsoft still growing, and with the company I mentioned, we have great opportunity to attract talents to come here.
Absolutely, you do.
And because we Americans have the greatest innovative entrepreneur
we
spirit.
Still do. Yes.
We still do.
Yes.
There's
nobody that matches that. You got it.
And so I believe that will continue to do so, and we draw talents here. The question is, how do we manage the growth, the people coming here? How do we manage, how to accommodate, how to provide environment for good businesses to encourage them to keep moving forward, and so we need to have everybody working, helping us. The public, what happens affect their lives, what they think that is, things that we need to work together on. And people may not always agree on the same thing. We are different, as we mentioned,
exactly.
diversity. But once we come to agreement to a solution that we support, we can live with, we will live with it. We will work on it. We will make it happen. And we will be a democratic country, we're living with what we all decide and agreed on. And I think that's the model that will be long-lasting, that will be sustainable. And so this is really how we people, hopefully through the political leaders and business leaders, community leaders, can all come to the table. And with you helping us create this kind of conversation and dialogue, and we don't need to just do it once every so often. But it will be something that we become part of our practice. I always believe the future of this country, future of the people in this country, future Americans is unlimited, as long as we are willing to work together.
You got it.
Communicate. And
that's really the one thing for today's show too, is always have that dialogue.
Yes.
And if there is no dialogue, be the one to start it.
Yes.
Be the one to, if you see that there's a rough spot in the road and nobody's talking, step up.
Yes.
And begin that conversation, because that's the only way to achieve the outcome that we all want, that's good for all of us, is to just communicate.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah. And I love your logo motto, all in. Because we need to have the things to get people's attention.
Yeah.
People are so distracted and so many things going on. It's hard to get people's focus and the concentration. Say, hey, this is something we have to do.
You got it.
Because ultimately, it's making things happen, getting things done.
Yep.
And so I hope that one thing that, if we have more time, just one thing we are working on, as city grows, as Bellevue, specific to Bellevue itself, downtown is going to be even more prosperous, because people are continuing to come here.
That's
Amazon
exciting.
is going to bring 20,000 employees. And in order to keep things moving, we have to move people, transportation system, accessibility in and out of the city, from the city to transportation hubs, from transportation hub to homes, to place of work, school, and recreation. And how do we do that? That's a big challenge. I believe that the solutions can be had. I believe that technology is already here.
Oh yeah.
It's in one of the simple application, a step in the right direction. Technology happens in many steps.
Yes, it does.
So you have to it has to prove one and follow the other.
Yes.
And I believe there's a lot of people, creative people, that are working on the solution. But I think we need to have more people who have resources, financially, and government has to be setting up the proper policies to help to demonstrate how to make application work. And we're working on the first step is an autonomous electric vehicle.
Oh, fun.
To connect the employees in this downtown. It's called the Shuttle Program. There's already a state law. It's called Commute Reduction Act. Employees need to provide transportation system for the employees. There's certain requirement. And this can be one of those systems that we can do it by, for example, they have van programs instituted by Metro to allow the employees to work, to come to work from their homes by using carpools. And but it still need a car on the road, a driver, and a bunch of people, and place to park.
Yes.
And if we use autonomous vehicle without a driver, we can eliminate parking.
Yes.
We can eliminate a driver. we can schedule them, electronically.
Exactly.
So we can do a lot of things creatively.
That technology is right around the corner too.
It's right in the corner.
I've taken Ubers or really Lyfts in Vegas with autonomous vehicles.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, they were in the testing phase a year ago with those, but the driver from casino to casino did not even touch the steering wheel.
Yes.
It was changed lanes, stopped at stoplights, everything. It was amazing.
Yes.
It's right here. It's here now.
It's right here now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So incrementally, we can make things happen, but technology provides us the means to make that leap, that jump.
It does, yeah. And I mean, I'm into technology too. That's what I grew up in. You know, I started in tech years ago, 2 decades ago.
Yes.
And with 5G right now too, that's
Here
how
we go.
that technology is possible. They're right here, John
right
Ledger.
here.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
he
Amazing.
really
Isn't
is
he colorful?
vision focused and future focused. Man, it's fantastic. But they're a leader in 5G.
Yes.
And where it's going to come, and with them right here too, I can see that being a huge advantage for the city.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's why I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited rather.
Right on.
And one of the things that
He needs to come on the show.
yes, one of the things is when you talk about technology, it's not just local anymore. It's not just U.S. anymore. It's global.
It is, yes.
Because the world faces the same challenge that we are facing. How do they solve the problem? And I think still people look to us. We know politically, in terms of politics, people look to us.
Yep.
And I think technologically too, people still look to us.
Right on.
And so I believe, each country, each people have their own special contribution. But ultimately, we can bring them all together.
Yeah.
And that's, in a way.
Oh, I love it.
When you get down to it, that's what a politician. Actually, I don't even want to use the word politician. I want to use the elected representative by the people, make it happen because we bring people together.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
That's really what it's supposed to be.
We bring people
You got it.
which much better than we are, much smarter than we are, much more resourceful than we are.
Yeah.
But bring them together, help them, and give them opportunity, environment to bring the best to the table.
You got it.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure.
Really,
Thank you.
I feel like we could go on for 3 hours.
Thank you.
And I know I have a flight to catch today, but could we have lunch when I come back?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I would love that.
I'll look forward to it.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Where can everyone find you on social media? Are you on social media?
I am, but I'm not so. What's
the best way to get in contact with your
The best way to contact
team?
me is my 2-way, my city email.
Okay.
CLEE at Bellevue, WA.gov.
Awesome.
Yeah, CLEE at Bellevue, WA.gov. The other ways, I'm very accessible on my personal email, which is Conrad S. Lee. Somebody took Conrad Lee. I don't know who that is. I'm not sure.
We need to find that person.
Anybody else
Can we get on that?
Conrad Lee, yeah. But Conrad S. Lee at Comcast.net.
Awesome.
Yeah. But also I'm on Facebook. I have Gmail.
Yeah.
I have,
LinkedIn, I'm sure.
I have
Yeah.
LinkedIn, all those accounts. But I just cannot keep track of all those things.
I got you, yeah.
And also, as you know, when you get on social media, you lose control.
Sure.
And as a politician, anybody, you won't have control.
Yeah, right on. Yes. For sure.
So, I read them, I look at them, but I tend not to get, tangled in.
Right on. Well, awesome. Thank you, Conrad.
Details.
It's been fantastic.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this very much.
Me too.
I appreciate this program and what you bring to the table. And for a city like Bellevue, a growing city, we need you to help us to generate dialogue, to help facilitate conversation.
Yeah.
And that comes from all over the place.
Let's do that. I'm all in. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Look forward to the next time.
Perfect. All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.